Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. I don't see any viewers out there at the moment, but I'm sure they'll start showing up here any second, or at least I hope so. First thing I want to do is apologize for the abrupt cutoff ending of the last shop talk. It was beyond my control, and the way things are happening outside right now, it may happen again. Yeah, I finally see somebody showing up there. Andrew, good morning. So, yeah, we're having a what I would call a frog strangler out there right now. A frog strangler for you city slickers is if a frog looked up, he'd drown. It's raining that hard out there right now, and the wind's blowing, so you may be able to hear that. Looks like we've got 24 viewers out there right at the moment connected, and more coming all the time. I've got, every week when I get ready for one of these shop talks, and by the way, I prepare them 1 hour before we go live. I don't prepare them ahead of time. I may collect a few videos and clips and things during the week, but I don't put it all together ahead of time. I put it together just before we go live. So there's just all kinds of preparation in on this. Not really. There's no preparation. I just try to follow a very loose script here and just let it happen like it does. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a lot to cover. Every week when I prepare these, I think, I don't have anything to cover this week. And then when I start writing it all down, there's more and more and more and more, and I don't know if we can fit it all in. There's so much. The first thing I want to mention up front is that I'm going to save my remarks on the Ukraine till the very end. I hope you'll stick with me and listen to that, because I do think it's very serious, and I do think I have some things to say. And if you don't want to stop and listen to that at the end, or wait and listen to that at the end, at least, please check out the link in the description to a very good video produced by 60 Minutes Australia that I think will explain the situation. And I promise you, the conclusions you draw from that video are conclusions that I drew more than a week ago. I just saw the video last night. So I was already going to say everything I'm going to say today, anyway. So anyway, I'm going to save all that for the end, but the situation is serious, and you probably should watch the end of this video. But I don't want to talk about that now, because it'll darken this video too much, and I just want to keep the video for its intended purpose. Ron's status, I didn't talk to him this week, other than I sent him a notice. As a matter of fact, the notice that I sent to him is about the next thing I want to tell you about. And the Rosa String Works band is going to start performing live, or it's kind of a practice and kind of a performance combined together. We're going to be at a restaurant in Rolla, Missouri. It's called Dickey's Barbecue, Dickeys Barbecue in Rolla, Missouri, and we're going to do that every Tuesday evening starting at 6:30. And so you may start seeing some more clips from there once we get established and get that rolling well. But this coming Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. in Rolla, Missouri, we'll be live there. And if anybody's in the area and you want to stop in, we would appreciate it. By the way, on that, the restaurant owner is the same owner of the restaurant that owned the restaurant where we used to play, which was called Cooking from Scratch in Doolittle, Missouri. He sold all that out and then bought Dickey's, I guess. And anyway, I asked him if we could play there, and he said, right at the end when you guys were playing at Cooking from Scratch, I got in trouble with ASCAP, and I can't let you play here. I want you to play here, but I can't let you play here because of ASCAP. So I investigated that, and I found out that an ASCAP license for that restaurant, it all depends on the size of the restaurant, how much music you play there, etc., and so forth. And anyway, with all the things put together with the specifics of his restaurant, the ASCAP license was $518 for 1 year. So I paid it, and we're going to play there. So I think the restaurant owner is going to help me out on that. But then I figure we'll just keep our case open and collect some money, and I'll get my money back that way. To me, you would think, to be honest, this is the very, very first time in my life I've ever paid to play somewhere. And it is not really for that purpose. The purpose is for us to have a good place to practice and keep our skills going, you know, and it's nice to do it in front of a live audience because it's more fun that way, you know. And so to me, it's just a fun thing. It's a hobby thing. I mean, you'd pay that much money if you were playing golf, you know what I mean? So it's just a hobby, and we're just going to do it. And I don't mind if I end up paying the whole $518. That doesn't bother me. But anyway, I think the restaurant owner said he is going to try to help me out on that. Okay, just thought I'd throw you that little curve. The CD giveaway that I've been talking about the last 2 times, I dropped the ball again. I didn't get it done. I'm sorry. But I will eventually give away this and CDs. I will give away CDs to the general viewer public, and I will give away CDs to my Patreons, and I will also give away this beautiful inlay piece to my Patreon viewers, to one of my Patreon viewers, obviously. Anyway, I just can't get it all put together sometimes. I got more than I can chew most every day, just about. Let me tell you that, I also wanted to say another thank you to Mike Saba, S-O-B-B-A. He sent me a gift. You've probably seen these things maybe. These are like little gift notes that come with Amazon gifts. And Mike said something here. He says, Jerry, I enjoy your videos. I saw your new grinder and thought you might get some use out of this battery, and hope you're having a nice day. So Mike Saba, thank you so much for that huge battery. I showed that in one of my daily vlogs. So anyway, thank you again, Mike. I really do appreciate that battery. I mean, that is just very helpful for me. It goes to a big angle grinder, a big DeWalt angle grinder. So it's nice to have a cordless version. I've got 3 or 4 plugged in versions of an angle grinder, but it's nice to have a cordless one. The next thing is that I want to mention about Mountain View once again. Every Shop Talk I'll be telling you about Mountain View. We're going to be down there June 9th through the 12th. And all it is just a big town where everybody goes and hangs out and has fun jamming to music and stuff. And it's mostly all acoustic. And they just have, the town just caters to jamming, basically. So there's jamming in all kinds of locations. If you decide you want to meet us down there at Mountain View, Arkansas, June 9th through the 12th, send me an email. My email address is on my website, rosastringworks@gmail.com is the email address, and the website, of course, is www.rosastringworks.com. Anyway, moving on, I got some letters from satisfied customers. I get these all the time. I rarely ever show them, but I thought these 3, I thought I'd just show them real quick. The first one came in on February 18th, and it was from Charlie McCormick, and he says, I want to thank you, Jerry. I got the saddle, put it on my mandolin, and wow, did it make a difference in tone and volume. You've got a great, great saddle. I'm telling everyone how much it improved my mandolin. Thank you so much. And just so you can see it there, you can see the Gmail. Well, maybe you can. You can see that it was a legitimate email. I'm not making these up. Here's another one. This one's from Fred and Joanne Martin. It says, installed, and I like it totally. I believe my sound is louder and what I call brighter. Some of that may be the change of strings. My bridge post spacing was a little bit wider than your pre-drilled holes, but a drill bit of the same size and a little pressure on the outside edges fixed all that. So anyway, you know, there's another guy that seems to like it. And then the last one here also comes with a picture. And this last one is from David Hoosier of Salisbury, North Carolina. He says, "Good morning, Jerry. Love your videos. I just got my bone saddles in the mail and I installed it on my 78 Alvarez A800. Wow, what a difference. I had the Mandolin refinished a while back and a new saddle installed from a company in Tennessee. I think they make saddles close as an F5 replacement or something like that. Anyway, love the look and sound of it. Is awesome. Will order another one for my other Alvarez." And so anyway, that was from David Hoosier in Salisbury, North Carolina. Thank you, David. Thanks to all those folks for those nice notes. I get those all the time, and I'm not exaggerating. The only other thing I get that many notes on is my mandolin training also. People just love my mandolin training, those that have gone through it. Now, I will tell you that it's geared primarily toward a newbie. Someone that knows nothing about the mandolin is the best candidate for my mandolin training. But it works for some folks that are like in the intermediate level also. I would say if you're already advanced, you probably don't need it unless you're trying to learn more about the Nashville number system. And the Nashville number system is very well explained, I think, and it's very well explained on the mandolin. It's like it was designed on the mandolin. Peter Bryant, I see you there. I super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Peter. And thanks to all 113 of you that have joined me so far. I've got a, let's see here. Just trying to follow my script. I've got another just miscellaneous video I thought you might enjoy seeing right here.
Don't know if you can see that big old grass carp right there. He's right on the edge.
By the way, this is not the biggest one.
I'm going to try to go down a little closer, but he'll probably take off in a big splash.
I don't know if this is causing an echo because I have two different things going at once. Sorry.
See him?
It may be. I can't tell that.
He's going to make a big splash. He's a huge fish. There he goes.
This one's only 3 feet long.
Can you see him?
There's two other ones in there. The other one's about 3 feet long, and then the big one is like 4 feet long. They're huge. Yeah. So it's hard to tell the size there in the picture.
You can see
but we also have some fairly large bass in there too, and a few catfish and things. Crappie. For a little bitty pond, it's like 11 feet deep, which is pretty deep for a small pond. And there's a lot of fish in there. We take a few out here and there. Another totally miscellaneous random video here. I tell you how often things break down here. My 1957 F350 one-ton dump truck. It's good and bad. When I bought it, it was up in pretty darn good shape. The guy had just restored it. I've used it a lot here. The cylinder had given me a lot of trouble on it, so I put a whole new cylinder on it, and right after I put a whole new cylinder on it, the thing quit running good. And so for the last year or so, and I haven't had time to work on it, it's just been bugging me that it's not working. So I took this quick video of what my problem was yesterday before I figured out really what my problem was. But now I know what it is, and maybe you can tell from the video. So take a look. Yeah, there's an exhaust leak too. I don't care about the exhaust leak. It's smoking a little bit. We don't use it that much, and we don't take it out on the road. We just use it here on the farm. Anyway, as you could probably tell there, if you're a motor kind of guy, engine mechanic type person, it's not getting enough fuel. I really see that's what threw me for the longest time. I didn't think that was the problem. I really didn't. Even though I could see that glass thing there didn't seem to be full, it was running, and I just, I guess it just didn't dawn on me that that glass bowl that you see there should be about half full most of the time. And I didn't really think of that. I'm not an expert mechanic. I just know how to work on stuff. And the reason I didn't think that was the problem is simply this. Was about a year, maybe 2 years ago now, I took the gas tank out of the thing entirely, completely scoured the gas tank and everything inside it and washed it out 2 or 3 or 4 times, put a new fuel line on it all the way up, a new fuel pump. So with having done all that, I didn't think that fuel delivery was my problem. And it ran like a top for a while. I put electronic ignition on it, see, originally, and it ran really good for a short time, and then it quit running. I thought, well, that electronic ignition's gone bad. I didn't have time to work on it, so I had a local guy work on it, and he took the electronic ignition out of it, threw it away, and put in the regular points again. Well, that didn't fix nothing, and he made it worse. So I put another one of those cheap electronic ignitions on it, and it seemed to work pretty good again for a short time, and then it quit again. So I thought, well, these electronic ignitions things aren't working. That's what I thought it was. See, and it was just all coincidental the way it worked out. Apparently, the lines were clear there and it was running gas for a little while and then it quit, and it clogged up. How it clogged up, I don't know. But anyway, so yesterday I put on another electronic ignition. I spent the big bucks and got the good one, the Pertronics, which is the name brand one, the one that everybody seems to think is really good. So I went ahead and spent the big bucks, got that one, put it on there, and it still wasn't running right, as you could see in the video. That's after I put the Pertronics on it. So then I thought, well, maybe it is a fuel delivery system. So I asked my brother-in-law, which I should have asked a long time ago because he is an ace mechanic. He has won mechanics competitions nationwide and has been named like Toyota Mechanic of the Year. I mean, like, this guy is incredible. I mean, like, seriously incredible. Anyway, so I call him on the phone and I show him that video and he goes, yeah, it's starved for fuel. You got a fuel problem. I mean, like, instantly is what he says. So I took my air compressor, blew through that new fuel line, keep in mind, and blew back into the tank. And apparently, I guess that filter that's right at the intake of the, where the fuel exits the tank and goes into the fuel line, there's a little filter thing around that. I guess stuff got around that and clogged it up. Blew all that away, runs like a top now. So it was coincidental. That's why I just didn't think that it was a fuel thing, because I had already cleaned all that out and it was running like a top, and I put the electronic ignition on it and it quits running, so it's just not easy being me. I'm telling you, it's just not. You can believe what you want, but it's not easy being me. Okay, shop project update. The world's finest mandolin ever built by a human is still on hold. I just can't get to it because of all these other projects. The acoustic bass, for the moment, is on hold, hanging there. That mandolin refret that you've been seeing in my daily vlogs is sitting right here, and it's kind of still on hold too, because I think I've only got 3 or 4 more frets to replace. Thank goodness I didn't take them all out. Oh my gosh, this thing has been fighting me every step of the way. And of course, there's 2 or 3 people telling me how to do it better. And, I've tried all those things. Trust me, it's not like my first rodeo. It's just this. That's what the problem is. I said today that I would, I had more requests for this. So I thought I would do a quick knife sharpening demo. This is not going to set the world on fire, guys. This is just old school technique. This is just the way I do it. And when something works, and it works well, and it works really quick, and it's super simple, why would you want to change all that? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Simple is good, quick is good, easy is good. the opposite of all those things, not good. So I'm going to try to turn this camera down here. I've never tried a demo like this before with this camera, so we'll give it a shot and see if it works. It may not. First of all, I have the little Arkansas 3-stone deal here. It's just a cheapy outfit, but it works really good. I pretty much only use the fine. On the end, it tells you whether you have a fine or a medium or a coarse. For the most part, I just use the fine. I do use the other ones every once in a while for some particular reason. If I really got a bad blade, needs a lot of work, I'll go to the coarse and go to the medium and then to the fine. But for the most part, most knives that are already sharp don't need anything more than the fine. The other thing that's essential for me is this. What is this? This is just a board, a very flat board with a very thick piece of leather glued to it. And this piece of leather is thicker than standard belt leather, even though belt leather would be perfectly fine, don't get me wrong. In fact, almost any piece of leather you glued to a block of wood would be fine. But this just happened to be a real thick band of leather, and it was just perfect for this purpose, so that's why I used it. Again, this is not going to set any world on fire here, this demo. I already know that. You don't have to tell me. So I just take the knife, and by the way, this is the one I cut the serrations out, and the person that sent me the knife said he did not take offense to me cutting the serrations out. I hope, I don't want people to do that when I modify something. I have no use for serrations there. I can't, as a matter of fact, can anybody tell me? I mean, I'm not being stupid here. Maybe I am being stupid. I don't know that I'm being stupid. But can anybody tell me the benefit of having serrations in this area of a knife blade? I can't think of a single benefit. I really, truly cannot. I'm not being stupid. I can't think of a reason. The only thing maybe that possibly would be maybe cutting cardboard or something. I don't need serrations to cut cardboard. Anyway, I took them out. I just ground it off. So I had to remove quite a bit of the blade, so I had to resharpen this. For the most part, these are just rules of thumb that I use, okay? I'm not telling you you have to do this exactly the same way. But rules of thumb that I use, you'll notice that it's sharpened on one side here. You can see quite a grind. On the other side, almost nothing. Almost nothing. So that's typically the way you sharpen a knife. At least that's the way I was trained and taught. And then I use the circular motion like this most of the time on that bevel. And you watch your oil on here, and you see that you're getting your oil coming across and that it looks even. If it's not, you're probably missing that spot on your blade. Then another really good technique is to do this, and you cut into your stone this direction. And you can see, you can rub the whole edge on your stone. That's another technique that I use, and I use it all the time. It's a very good technique. And it'll sharpen a knife very quickly this way. You have to be very consistent about your angle. I know they make guides and all kinds of things, but that's just, to me, silliness. Just practice this, learn how to do it, and you've got it down. Then on your other side, you can also bring your other side and cut back to you just a very light amount on the other side, because you don't want the other side to be beveled that much. You just want the one side to be beveled and the other side to just more or less knock off the burr. Once you're satisfied with that, and really it shouldn't take you very long unless the knife is in really bad shape. Then you just you do this on your leather, and people say, what does the leather do? Leather's not going to, sharpen, or take off steel or whatever, because it's too soft. But it really does. It'll knock off that little very, very fine burr that you'll end up with, and it will actually polish the blade to the point where it almost looks like glass if you really do a lot of this. But honestly, this is what gives you that last little bit of extra on sharpening your knife. And you can see I just do it pretty absent-mindedly, pretty fast. You don't really have to spend a lot of time doing this either, but the more time you spend doing this, if you've got it sharp, and you really do need to have it sharp before you do this, if you've got it sharp, this really will pay dividends in terms of the extreme sharpness, in terms of, you know, like shaving type sharp. And, you know, again, the shaving thing, people say, why do you shave yourself? To tell, well, it's just a very good test for how sharp a blade is. It's an easy test. You've always got your hair right there, and it's easy to do. And, yeah, it's just cutting it off just like butter right there. Very, 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 very sharp. That's all there is to it, guys. You know, that's really all there is to it. When it comes to sharpening chisels and things, I use these basically the exact same techniques. The only thing I would do different on a chisel, and I'll bring the camera back up here and talk. And I do have a video out there on sharpening a chisel, I believe. So I can't remember the number of the video, sorry. But if you type in RSW chisel sharpening or something like that, you'll probably find it without any trouble. The only thing I do differently on a chisel is, and I'll get one out and show you. Is I will take this to a grinder. And I know some people are, you know, already going, a grinder, you know, I take it. These are my good chisels. These are the 2 cherry chisels. Now, I realize these are not the highest end chisel, but they're very good chisels. And I'll take it to the grinder, and I'm pretending this is the grinder, and I very carefully grind it like this. Very light pressure. You don't go grinding, pushing it into the grinder. Very light pressure. And what I'm doing is I'm watching the sparks. And it's very important to watch the sparks. And what you want to do is you want to keep an even amount of very minimal, very, very minimal, you heard me say minimal, amount of sparks coming over the leading edge of the chisel. You want to see the sparks coming just over the edge, but very minimal amount of sparks coming over the edge. And you want to keep that consistent as you go across the stone. Very, very consistent, in fact. In other words, you want to take your time, go across here in one perfect, and what you will create is what they call a hollow grind, and you will not be able to see the grind once you do that. Then, by that hollow grind, because this edge is curved, then what that does is it creates a low spot in the middle of your blade. In other words, this will be high and this will be high. And then you take those 2 high points, you lay the, and I'm just going to use the leather here. Well, no, I'll use the stone. And you lay those high spots then, and you can feel them, and it'll just hold itself there. You can just basically hold itself there. And then you work right there like that on those 2 high spots. And you'll actually see it rubbing off on the back, and you'll actually see it rubbing off on that front edge. Takes just seconds to sharpen this thing that way. Then, and of course, then you take a very light, just like your knife, you only bevel one side, and then you just very lightly on the back side, and then you do the leather thing, exactly the same as the knife, really. So I hope that little sharpening demo is good for you. You know, I know lots and lots of people sell, and lots of companies sell lots and lots of paraphernalia to sharpen with. I don't need any of that. And I get stuff so sharp that it's scary sometimes. Like I said in that one video, I had it so sharp, it cut you just looking at it, so I wouldn't even hardly look at it. Anyway, if you believe that, I got some swamp ground I got to want to talk to you about down in Arkansas. Anyway, there you go. I'm just about to get done here. My brother, I'm kind of stalling because my brother said he'd be here about this time actually, and he's bringing in the guitar he just finished. So we're going to just show it to you. We can't demo it very well because it's left-handed, and seriously, I don't know how to get any noise out of that thing. You can sort of, I can't really make a chord on it. Anyway, it's just hard to demo, but it is a pretty guitar. It did turn out nice, and hopefully we'll show you that before the end of the Shop Talk. Okay. I think I'm done. So I guess we're going to go to questions and answers, but I just want to warn you, if Scott shows up to bring the guitar, we're going to put the questions and answers on hold and demo his guitar. Let me scroll up the screen here, because I do see, again, I remind you to put question marks in front of your question so I can find your question, because I'm a very slow reader, and it helps me find it. Paul Akers, looks like he might be the first question. It says, why are internal braces carved, and what is too big for top and back? Well, Paul, that's a real open question, buddy. Well, they're not carved on all instruments. Like if you look at the Hone, or me and names, I can't think of them. Harmony. I knew it started with an H. Those Harmony guitars, which are pretty popular, and some of them can sound really good, actually. Most of those braces are not carved, the reason that they're carved, I would say, is partly, I'm just being honest, partly is artistic. It's partly the craftsmanship. It's that aspect. That's part of it, if I'm just being honest. The other part of it is you want to make them as light and as dainty as you can make them and still be strong enough to do their job. And that's probably the key to the whole thing right there. And how do you know how big that is? That's the $1,000,000 question right there. And there's nobody that's going to truly be able to answer that. There's people that are going to talk like they can answer that. But a lot of them are just blowing smoke. And the reason we know that is because even the people that have been in business for 200 years still have problems with that, So there's no way to know because there's too many factors. One piece of wood stiffer than the next. You know what I mean? There's just all kinds of factors. And, who knows what kind of gauge strings you're going to be putting on it and those kinds of factors. So there's just a million things. So it's impossible to say what's too big, what's too small, It's just impossible. It's just experience, and you just have to. I think what helps me and gives me a little bit more insight into that is the fact that I've done so much repair over the years, and so when I build one, I kind of know how small I can get away with, sort of, kind of. Even that's a guess. I'm just being honest, it's a guess. My little lens cover is about to fall down, so I'm going to tilt that back up here before it does. And the whole screen goes blank, and you're going, where'd he go? Okay, the next question. I hope that answers the question, and that you don't think that's a cop-out. But some questions are just don't have an answer. Michael 2X. Short size? Any CDs with you and Emery? Yeah, well, most of the CDs that Emery's singing on, I'm playing on. Well, as a matter of fact, I guess I'd say all of the CDs that Emery's singing on, I'm playing on. But, yeah, nothing where we're singing together, I don't think. I can't remember her. She's good at harmony singing, too, so. I'm not, really. I'm just, I got about that much value when it comes to harmony singing. I'm not very good at that. Gotta Fly Lee. Morning, Jerry. Do you work on washburns? I have not found a video on any that you have worked on. I'm pretty sure I got a video out there on a washburn. I'm pretty sure I know I've worked on many of them. Some of them have been banjos. Washburn made a lot of different kinds of instruments, as you know, and I have worked on a lot of washburns. I replaced the whole top on at least one washburn mandolin, for sure. I don't know, that was probably way before YouTube, though, but anyway, I have worked on quite a few. And I'm pretty sure there's at least one video out there where I'm working on a Washburn. Maybe one of the viewers can find it and point you to it. Jeff, again, though, if you type in RSW Washburn, you probably should find it. Jeff Puris, yep, the float should be roughly level. Yeah, okay, that's not a question. I just happened to notice that one. Yeah. By the way, and for people who don't know, and if you're, I don't know, brave enough, I guess is the right word, to take a lawnmower engine apart or work on a carburetor or something like that, when you turn the carburetor upside down and you know that little float that's in there, and it hangs down when you've got the carburetor right side up, that float will hang down. But if you turn the carburetor over, then the float falls down. When it's down in that position, it should be almost perfectly level. That kind of tells you that the float is putting equal pressure and even pressure on the little needle valve that's in there. That's just a rule of thumb that you can use on carburetors if you ever take one apart and you're trying to decide, is my float working properly? You look at that, and then also there is a little needle valve there that you want to make sure is working up and down freely. And then if you really get detailed, you pull that little needle valve out and you look at the bottom of it, or you look at the pointy end of it, and make sure it's not screwed up and letting fuel through when it shouldn't. And it should be a good, nice, tight seal type look to it, and it shouldn't have a worn spot or anything. Okay, that's another tangent. Don't get me started. I can talk about anything like that. Can a slim fingerboard or lower action mute a violin? Well, I'm not sure I quite get that question. That's from the Happy Knot. Can a slim fingerboard or low action mute a violin? Well, it's a little bit of an open question because there's a lot of factors again. But when you say mute a violin, I wouldn't think of it that way. I would say a slim fingerboard probably doesn't have too much effect on it. It's more the weight of it. If it's a good solid, neck and weight-wise and all that, and it's put together solidly, then you'll be fine. If it's not, it could change the tone and or cause a negative reaction in terms of sustain and things like that. But mute, I don't know that I'd call it that. Low action, on the other hand, again, I don't know that I'd say mute so much. You may not get as much out of your violin. If you want to call that a mute, I guess you could say that would be a mute. I think of it more of power and things like that. Mute to me is more like you're toning it way down, and it's like putting a mute on it. If you know what a mute is, it makes it where it's barely making any sound. I don't see it doing that low action, but it will not give you as much power because your string height. In other words, if your strings are coming across your bridge like this versus like that, and again, I'm exaggerating, the more angle you've got, the more power you have pulling down on your bridge, which puts more vibration in your top. So from that standpoint, sort of kind of mutes it, but I wouldn't call it a mute. I would just call it less power, less volume, that kind of thing. So here's the rule of thumb on pretty much every stringed instrument. This is just a rule of thumb. Don't hate me. You want to play it with as low action at the nut end as you can get without buzzing. The other rule of thumb is you want to play it with as high of action as you can legitimately play it well at the 12th fret. You want the lowest action at the nut and the highest action that you can play well at the 12th fret. That's a good rule of thumb. And the reason is it puts more pressure down on your instrument, puts more pressure down on your saddle, more pressure on your bridge. Everybody thinks they got to have it low, 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 low. Get it lower, get it lower, get it lower. Well, fine. But if you want the best sound out of your instrument, then those are the rules of thumb. And they're just rules of thumb. You know, they're not black and white. They're just rules of thumb. Okay. Hope that answers your question. David Tharp says, what kind of glue did you use to glue the file onto the wood for your fret leveler? Well, David, the truth of that is, I forgot. I really don't remember what I used. Pretty sure, but not positive, pretty sure I used CA glue, you know, just super glue. But honestly, I don't remember, and there's no residue trace that I can see on it that I could tell you what it is, but that's what I think I used. Good luck with it. If it doesn't hold the first time, CA glue will hold it the second time. Just understand that. It really does work better the second time. So, there you go. It scrolled a lot, sorry, so now I got to go back up. Doggone it. I hate it when it does that. Okay, I found it. Matt Tommen, question mark, to cut branches. Oh, serrations? Maybe. Maybe. I got no use for them, personally. Absolutely none. And to me, please don't take this wrong. To me, it's just one of those damn yuppie things. It's just one of those yuppie things that people think is cool, and it's become a fad, and it's just, you got to have it. Oh, I don't want it. I don't even want it at all. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it every time, because it's just junk to me. Just total junk. Okay. I don't feel strongly about that. Anyway, William Mead. Hi there, Jerry. In touching up guitar finish, can I apply shellac in areas that may have been originally finished with lacquer, polyurethane, varnish, etc.? Yeah, William, I do that occasionally. If you're just talking real tiny areas especially, or like little dings and things, yeah, something like the, you can repair it with the shellac. Shellac's not a bad under treatment for almost any finish, really. You can go over the top of shellac with lacquer and things like that. Yeah, shellac's a good thing. The negative of shellac, and you've heard me say it before, there's two real negatives. Number one, it's not real durable. That's why I don't use French polish. People always ask me about French polish. I just got another one this morning. French polish. It's a great finish. I just want to be very clear. French polish is a great finish. It's beautiful. Acoustically, it's probably as good as any or better. So acoustically, it's great. It looks great. Those are the two real positives. But it's got two real negatives, too. Number one, you can look at it and scratch it. I mean, it just the least little thing scratches it. Number two, it will turn bright white, milky white, if you sweat on it. I'm a sweater. And most musicians I know are sweaters, if they're real musicians. And it just leaves a nasty mess, and your finish will get smeary and all kinds of stuff. So I don't use French polish, period. Zero, end of discussion. But your question about the shellac, as far as filling little spots, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And I think I hear my brother coming in. So I think I'm going to put, well, maybe I'll try one more question because it'll take him a minute to get ready. Jeff Puris. Finally, something you can't do. Play a left-handed instrument. Jeff, you have no clue how much I can't do anything left-handed. I can't do anything left-handed. The only thing I've found that I can do left-handed, well, is hold stuff and note an instrument, and that's it. And I can barely do that. I'm not very good at noting an instrument, to be truthful. I'm just average at that at best. I can't do anything with my left hand. It almost could cut it off. I am definitely not left-handed. Now, ironically, my brother, Steve, not the one that's showing you the guitar this morning, my other brother, Steve, he's about 4 years younger than me. Steve is totally ambidextrous. And when I say totally ambidextrous, I mean it. I'm going to finish that story in a second. I had a thought here and I want to put it down before I forget, because I will. I have another thing I want to tell you about. But anyway, Steve is totally ambidextrous. I've seen him do this more than once. Like, we were out doing something out in the woods and we were driving these great big spikes. I think maybe driving them into a tree to climb the tree or something. I don't know what it was. But anyway, back when we were kids, And anyway, he these big spikes, and he would be driving like this. I get tired in no time because you just pounding and pounding and pounding. And then he'd just switch and do it with his left hand and do it just as good and just as powerful with his left hand. It doesn't really make him any difference. He can do anything with either hand. He can write, he can throw a ball with either hand farther than anybody watching this video too, by the way. The kid never lost a softball throw at school. I mean, always won them. And with right hand or left hand, either one, he could do that. Crazy how good he was with his right and left hand both. I could tell you stories all day long about my brother Steve. He built a 10-foot tall unicycle from scratch. Well, I shouldn't say from scratch. I think he converted a regular unicycle to a 10-foot tall unicycle. He made it himself. He was good at everything. I mean, like basketball, you could never get a basketball from him. I mean, he's just incredible. But he'd get up on the roof of the garage. We had a flat roof garage. It was more of a carport. And he had a flat roof carport attached to the house, my mom and dad's house. And he would get up on that, get on the unicycle, and ride across the black top parking lot. And then he'd have to ride back over to the house to get off the thing. Yeah. He was something else. And I shouldn't say was. He still is. He's just old like me now. We both have slowed down a lot from our younger days. What I wrote down here, and I want to just mention it before Scott comes in with the guitar, is you've heard my song on some videos recently, or maybe not too recently, but you've probably heard it somewhere along the line. It's a song about a horse called Phantom 614. That song was released on Prime Cuts of Bluegrass years ago, and I didn't get real good feedback on it. I mean, I didn't get bad feedback exactly. I had a few negative comments like, why would anybody name a horse Phantom 614, and that can't be real, and those were from the DJs, those kinds of comments. They weren't about the song or the music so much. It was negative about the subject thing. They just didn't believe it, I guess. But I'm here to tell you that it's a true story, and it's 100% true, and you're going to hear it tonight again in a video that Emery produced for me. It's on the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human. That mandolin hanging right there. And anyway, she played it in the background of the video, and I just thought you might want to know a little bit about the story of Phantom 614. Okay, he was a black stallion. What I don't remember is how we got him. Do you remember how we got Phantom 614, that horse? Do you remember him?
I was little.
He was too little. My brother Scott was too little. He's like 8 or 9 years younger than me. And I think we got him when I was about 16. He was wild as a March hare. I mean, this thing was a wild stallion, like you just seriously see on TV. He really reminded me of the Fury TV show, if you remember Fury, how Joey was the only person that could handle that horse. My dad and that horse just fought like World War III. I mean, they fought all the time. They couldn't get along. And so I started befriending this stallion. And for whatever reason, he took to me. I don't know why. He just did. I didn't have any trouble with that horse at all. And I think that even made my dad even madder. I mean, it really did. Because he would get on it and the horse would, what they call take the studs. He would start squealing and he would rear up and he would just cut all kinds of monkey shines. I'd get on him. I'd ride him right through the middle of a bunch of mares or right through the crowd of people. I could put little kids on the saddle with me and ride him around. Had no trouble whatsoever. None. Zero. And whenever he'd start to act up, I'd just say, Phantom, just take it easy here. Just settle down. I just talked to him real nice. On the other hand, whenever he'd act up with Dad, they'd fight, and it was just amazing. Well, anyway, he was really one of the most beautiful horses you've ever seen in your whole life. He really was. His black coat shined like I think in my song I said like velvet under candlelight. It would shine purple, iridescent type purple. Keep in mind, this is coming from a guy that's colorblind. I could see it making these colored shines out in the sunlight. And everywhere I would ride this horse, people would stop and they just look. I mean, I could be riding through 40, 50 horses at a horse show or whatever, and people would just stop and go, wow, look at that horse, I mean, he was that kind of gorgeous. He won the World Championship model horse for the Missouri Foxtrot Horse Breed Association. Anyway, so I just thought I would tell you that story so that when you hear the song tonight in the video, you'll, when I release that video, you'll know what it's about. And that it was really a true story. My brother's here. Have you got the guitar out? Let's see it. Here we go. Wow. Man, it does look nice. Man, I'm going to have to hire him to do my finishes. That's awesome. That's really nice. That's really nice. Can you see it up close? I know that camera is terrible on focus and on, resolution. It's a shame we don't have this on high resolution. I'll take pictures of it and put it in the next Shop Talk, so that'll be high res. Let's start at the peg head here. And by the way, on the other side of the peg head, I think he put his son's name, Joe. Turn it down this way where you can maybe read it. It says Joe. And of course, then there's the fingerboard itself. Really pretty. And the sound hole, the label in there. You get your own label, huh? Pretty cool. And of course the pick guard, which is upside down. I should be showing it this way. See, I can't even show it left-handed. So there you go.
That's a volume control for the I-beam pickup for the
LR
bags.
Yeah, that's the LR bags volume control there. And it just really looks beautiful. Very, very nice. He did a really good job. Maybe I should hire him.
A lot of beginner mistakes, that's for sure.
Yeah, he did learn just how many mistakes you can make. I think you can make more mistakes building a guitar than you can make doing anything. You really can. You just wouldn't believe how many mistakes you can make. And he made a share, but we were able to cover up most of them, and you really can't see them. They be stuff that only he and I would know. But it's a very nice job. Very nice job. Nice tuning keys. Those are Waverly, right?
Yeah, Waverly, Ebony.
On the very nice. Can you make any sound on it so that you can let them hear it? Well, here's the microphone right here.
I have to sit. I can't.
Yeah.
That's what I realized that on the way down here I forgot to put is a strap peg.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can put that on there.
I got one at home, but I don't have any with me.
I can put one on there. Wow, it's got a nice sound. Beautiful. Really good.
Playing upside down, making your chords backwards isn't so easy.
No, I guess not.
But boy, it sounds good.
Yeah, it does. It's got a great sound.
I'll get closer to the mic here.
Wow. Yeah, it's got a really nice sound.
can do left-handed, let me tell you.
Yeah, you've heard me say before, he's one of those musical genius kind of guys. Yeah, not me at all. When he was 10, he could play anything. I mean, like anything. It was just crazy how good he was. Yeah, and he can play a left-handed guitar. It's just nuts. I can't even tune a left-handed guitar, let alone play it. That's beautiful, Scott. It really turned out nice.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your guidance and the use of your shop.
You're welcome. Yeah, he did 99% of that himself, too. I didn't do hardly anything on it. I just kind of was available sometimes. I wasn't even available all that much, and just pointed him to what he needed to do. Let's see. We'll move back into a few more questions here, and then I'm going to get off on my Ukraine rant, if you want to call it that. William Mead. I think that's where I'm at. I hope it didn't scroll too far. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. William Mead. Hi, Jerry. In touching up guitar finish, can I apply the shellacked area? Oh, wait, sorry. That may have been originally finished by, is that the one I covered before? Yeah, you can touch up with it. Yeah, as I mentioned, so maybe I did already cover that one. Like I said, I'm a bad reader, guys. I can't help it. Jeff Puris, finally something you can't do. Okay, that's all right. So we're past that. Oh, George French. I'm glad you brought up Itchy Boots. George says, is there a cure for addiction to Itchy Boots? Itchy Boots is a girl. I'm going to say she's in her 40s. I really just don't know how old she is. I call her a girl. Everybody's a girl or a little kid to me, you know. Anyway, she rides her motorcycle through all these different countries. And right now, the last two videos she's put out, you need to watch them. I mean, she's in the middle of nowhere. When I say nowhere, I don't mean it like out here. I mean, like we're in the middle of nowhere. She's truly in the middle of nowhere. And you can't see anywhere else from where she's at. It's a mess, man. I mean, she was riding down this river in a little canoe thing with these native Nicaraguan folks. And they stop for lunch. So you think, okay, it's typical lunch, you know, right? No. They climb a tree. This guy goes way out on a limb, hanging way over a river. I mean, like way high. I mean, like really way up there. We're not talking 10 feet above the water. We're talking 30 feet above the water. And he's, hanging out there on a limb, and he reaches out there with this little grab pole thing with a wire on the end, and he grabs a lizard. He crawls back down. They cook the lizard up for lunch, and she just bites right into it, man. I mean, she's got more guts than Carter's got liver pills. I'm seriously telling you, she's amazing to watch, really. I mean, it really is good YouTube viewing. So I would watch Itchy Boots if you haven't seen her. 3 or 4 videos ago, she went across a rickety bridge on her motorcycle that I seriously wouldn't have walked across, let alone took a motorcycle across. I mean, just crazy. Let's see. Watch this for just 1 second.
Opal's got a little shop, coffee, tea, and soda pop, written on the faded window sign. Ruby and Pearl are her best friends. There you'll find the 3 of them, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30. You can set a watch by their routine. Classic small town Norman Rockwell scene. They talk about the wheres and whens, a little gossip now and then about who's doing what, maybe why.
Sorry about that, but I wanted to see if I could find a button for his guitar there. He forgot to put a strap button on it. And I thought he was in a hurry to get out of here because he's going down to Springfield to meet his son to take him that guitar. But anyway, he's not in a hurry. So anyway, Itchy Boots, worth watching. I'm going to call it right there, guys. Now I'm going to get into my rant on Putin, and I'm sorry. If you don't want to listen to this, that's okay, I understand. But if I were you, I'd listen. I think it's worth hearing. Before I get into this, I've already been told it's none of my business. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything about the past history and situation in Ukraine. Well, I'll admit I'm not an expert on it, but you're looking at somebody that is no dummy either. I have watched a lot of documentaries on it and about prior history too. One of the videos that you could watch if you're inclined to know more about the situation there and more in depth on it is I believe it's called Winter Fire. It was produced by Netflix. I don't have a link to that. But anyway, if you just go into Netflix and you search on Winter Fire, I believe is what it's called, you'll find that documentary. And it's very good, and it'll open your eyes. Trust me. It was produced by Netflix. Things you don't know about me first. I do have a college degree. I'm not just some dumb country bumpkin. I do have a college degree. It's only a bachelor's degree. But I did go to night school for 18 solid years. Now, I went every single semester for 18 years. I didn't just, goof off and take. It was after work, of course. I had a family, so I was forever going to get my degree. But I got it. I didn't quit after I started it. And I took a lot of psychology classes. Yeah, and you might say, oh, you're a backyard psychologist now too, huh? No, that's not it at all. I don't even claim to think I know that much about it. But instead of just taking your normal Psych 1 and Psych 2 classes like everybody else did, your obligatory classes, whenever I had the option to take an elective, I took a psychology type class elective. I thought it would be good for the business aspect, but it also helped me understand things that happened to me in my life. It also helps me understand people like Putin. And I'm going to tell you something right now. He's a frightening man. And he is the most frightening man that we've ever seen in the history of the world. And you might say, oh, there's been much worse people. Yeah, there probably has. But you don't understand why he's the most frightening. He's the most frightening because, as I've already said, he's a psychotic. He's a psychotic narcissist, and he's backed into a hole. And he's backed into a hole. When you get a wild animal or a crazy animal backed into a hole, what are they going to do? They're going to lash out and they're going to fight. I can tell you for sure, Putin is not going to lose face, and he's not going to back off, and he's not going to back down. We are already in World War III. Whether you choose to believe it or not, we're in it. And if he is successful in convincing China to join him, are we going to sanction China? Are we going to stop using Chinese goods? Good luck with that one. Seriously, good luck with that one. Do you think that will work? How long do you think we could even exist? How long do you think we could function if we banned everything coming from China? I mean, you think, well, we make our own food. Well, yeah, we do. But almost everything we make our food with comes from China. At least all the parts and things to keep the machinery running and everything. And if he's successful in getting China to join him, what chance do you think we've got? It's a dire situation. But that's still not the scary part. The scary part is, as I said, he's a psychotic narcissist. And he's backed into a hole. What makes him worse than anybody in the history of the world is he's got his fingers on nuclear weapons, he's got his fingers on biologic weapons, and he's got his hand on chemical weapons. And he's not afraid to use the biological and chemical. He's already done it. It's not me talking. This is history. Look it up. He's used them. And he's defended other countries that have used them. So do you think he's going to hold back now when he's backed into a corner, backed into a hole? If you think so, you're very naive. You're very naive. That poor leader of Ukraine, I can't call his name right at the moment because I'm terrible with names, but he has been begging for for us to make it a no-fly zone, you know. Well, I can understand why our leaders are afraid to do that, but Putin has been bluffing all along, and we've been buying his bluffs. And because we're buying his bluffs, he's getting more bold and more bold and more bold, and it's going to spring loose eventually. And trust me, if he decides to use the chemical or biological weapons, we will wish that he used the atomic nuclear weapons. We will wish that he did, because that would have been quick and dirty and over with. The chemical and biological, not so much. Okay, what's my answer to all this now that I think I'm so smart? Well, my answer is the world needs to come together, pull together. NATO, the United Nations, the United States, the European Union, everybody needs to come together. We need to declare him a terrorist because he is a terrorist at the worst level. Bin Laden doesn't hold a light to the terrorist that this guy is. And we need to declare him a terrorist, and we need to take him out. We can send in planes and troops and things and kill a lot of people and all this kind of stuff. We need to take him out, and it will save millions of lives. If you don't believe what I'm telling you, you don't understand the situation. Watch the 2 videos that I have linked in my description. You need to watch them. You really need to watch them. I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not a prepper. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I'm just telling you like it is. I see it for what it is. And if you don't see it that way, I don't know how to help you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to open your eyes. And for the folks that can do, you need to do. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next Friday morning, same time, same channel, I hope.